World Cup final here in Doha. The FIFA president here to answer some of your questions. Interpretation provided via the usual app on your phone. All being well, I will hand over now to Gianni for a review and some thoughts on the World Cup and of the FIFA Council meeting that has just finished a short time ago. Gianni.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Brian. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this press conference. Sorry for being a little bit late due to, of course, council meeting and obviously always, you know when it starts, you never know when it ends. But it's great that you are all here. And let me say how happy I am, of course, to be here with you today. So let me just give you a quick update on what was discussed and decided at the council meeting. Well, the first item I want to highlight and stress, of course, is the praise for the unanimous praise of the FIFA Council for this World Cup, for the unique cohesive power that this World Cup has shown. The thanks to everyone who was involved, to, of course, Qatar, all the volunteers, workforce, all of you, everyone who has contributed to make this World Cup the best World Cup ever. Let me just give you just a couple of figures regarding this World Cup. You will receive, of course, all of that, but I think it's important. We had already a cumulative audience of 3.27 million spectators. It was 3.03 for 2018 for all the matches. There are still 2 matches to go, as you know, of course. The average is 52,760. It was a bit more than 47,000 in 2018. Highest attendance, Lusail, 88,966 for Argentina, Mexico. 1.7 million people attended the FIFA Fan Festival, almost 80,000 per day. And we played 62 matches so far without incidents, basically, in a very, very joyful atmosphere, and I think this is what we need to bear in mind. The goals scored are similar to the ones in Russia, 163 so far. Important as well, no team has won all the games. And for the first time ever, teams from all the continents moved to the knockout phase, showing that there is something happening when we speak about football becoming truly global. For the first time, an African team, Morocco, an Arab team as well, reaching the semi-final stage of the World Cup. So again, congratulations. We also, for the first time, a woman who refereed a match, Stéphanie Frappard from France. It was Germany, Costa Rica. And she did very well. We had 2.3 million Haya card applications, 1.9 million approved. And the top 5 visiting countries were Saudi Arabia, India, United States of America, United Kingdom, and Mexico. So, international atmosphere, joyful atmosphere, football uniting the world, people coming together and wanting to enjoy a little bit their time, maybe forgetting also some of their issues and having pleasure. We will issue as well, after the final, of course, the viewing figures and the audience figures, but it has been, as you know, of course, an incredible success. We are approaching the 5 billion mark in terms of viewing figures. And let me again say a big thank you to all those who made this happen. We had almost 180,000 accreditations that were issued, also to all of you. We had more than 400,000 volunteers who applied to become volunteers. 20,000 were selected from 150 different countries. So it was very, very successful, but we touch wood. Do we have wood somewhere? Is this wood? Yep. That's wood, so we touch wood. 2 matches to go, so I say to everyone who is praising or receiving praises, well, focus until the end, and then we will, of course, hopefully confirm these feelings that we have now, which are more than feelings, obviously. When it comes to the council meeting, coming back to that, we could confirm, of course, the revenues of this 4-year cycle, which was at 7.5 billion, so 1 billion more than what was budgeted 4 years ago. You know, we have these 4-year cycles. 1 billion more revenues in a period which was hit by a pandemic, by COVID. I think this is quite remarkable. So again, congratulations to all those who were making this happen. And looking forward ahead, the FIFA Council approved the budget for the next 4-year cycle, which will foresee a revenue of 11 billion. So the last 4-year cycle had a budget of 6.4. 6.44, I think. We made 7.5. The next cycle has a budget of 11 billion revenues, and almost 10 billion will go directly back, of course, to football. The Council also approved the talent development scheme under the leadership of Arsene Wenger to detect and develop talents all over the world. $200 million will be invested for this particular project. And we discussed as well, and it was endorsed by the Council unanimously, some strategic principles with regard to the international match calendars for women and men, and competitions for women and men. When it comes to the men, to start with, as you certainly remember, we had agreed a few years ago to have a new men's World Cup with 24 teams, who should have taken place in 2021. This event was postponed because of COVID. The new men's Club World Cup will therefore take place in 2025 and will feature 32 teams, the best teams in the world. Of course, the details, slot allocation and so on still need to be discussed, agreed and decided, but the 32-team tournament will go ahead, making it really like a World Cup, like this World Cup with 30. Open the floor for questions.
Okay, thanks, Gianni. You'll get that all on an email very, very shortly. I know it's quite a lot of information. Okay, time for questions now. So if you could please raise your hand, state your name and organisation. I will try my best to get around as many of you as possible. I'm certainly mindful of the opening press conferences too, so I'm trying to be fair to everyone here. Let's go, please, second row. The gentleman in the blue with the white cap, cream baseball cap. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. President. My name is Abdulaziz Abu Hamar.
Here. I was looking for a blue baseball cap, but it's not a blue.
A white baseball.
A white baseball, blue. Okay, sorry. Blue jersey.
It's a white hat today. Mr. President, so it has been a massive success, massive all-front success and a quality of football.
For me, the World Cup has been a really incredible success, yes, on all fronts. The main one, of course, on the fans, the behavior, the joyful atmosphere, the bringing people together, fans coming from abroad, meeting the Arab world, is very, very important for the future of all of us, I believe. But also when it comes to to the matches, I mean, we have seen some incredibly competitive games. We have seen some surprises, maybe, some great goals. The fact of playing in November, December, as opposed to the end of the season for many players, the end of exhausting season, has certainly an impact. I mean, for many of these players, it is the first title of the season that is played in this World Cup, and we've seen it on the quality of the games. Let me add as well, in this respect, that I mentioned about the refereeing and the effective time played as well, because you've seen some additional time, maybe unusually long additional time, but this has been a concern that was raised by the IFAB earlier this year. And, you know, we play 90 minutes, but there are a lot of interruptions. So at the end of the day, there was on average 10 minutes, a little bit of more than 10 minutes and 11 seconds played on average as additional time every match, bringing the duration of a match to 59 minutes and 51 seconds on average, so around 60 minutes of effective play, which I think is definitely something very positive, because everyone enjoys. People enjoy. We have great games. We had some incredible actions also at the end of the games, and I think this was very important. This was also, let me add, a very fair World Cup on the pitch. No simulations, not so many yellow and red cards, actually a little bit less than in Russia so far. But this shows as well, and the compliment there goes to the players and the coaches who managed to maintain their calm.
Okay, thanks.
And to the referees as well, obviously.
Thank you for your question. I was just going to go up near the back. Just on the point of referees, we will be publishing some of the data after this, just so that you've got them all to report. Actually, we'll go down to the front first. So we'll go over to Gabriel. Far right, please.
Thank you, Brian. Gabriel Marcotti from ESPN. Mr. President, Presidente.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno. I just want to take you back to the projected revenue, which you said was going to be, or the budget, you said it's going to be about 11 billion. So that's a 50% uplift compared to the current cycle.
Yeah.
Can you just explain a little bit what the main factors are going to be? Obviously, the 48-team World Cup is going to be a big part of it. Is that alone? What else do you see driving it? Are you that bullish about the potential commercial revenues and broadcast revenues? Can you just explain how you get to that number?
Well, let me say, we are bullish about the power of football, so to say, about what we believe the impact of football or soccer, as it's called, where we are going to play the next World Cup, or at least in a part of the two of the countries. We are more than bullish. I think we are, convinced that the impact of the game will be massive. It has been massive here. It will be incredible in North America. 3 huge countries, Mexico, United States, Canada, organizing the event. 48 teams, 50% more, so from 32 to 48. More games. Revenues will go up in terms of broadcasting, in terms of sponsorship, and in terms of ticketing and hospitality. Let's not forget that we will play in huge stadiums in North America, stadiums which are normally used for American football. So 80, 90,000, 70,000 is almost the smallest capacity, but then with a lot of attractions for fans. So we are expecting 5 million, 5.5 million fans traveling specifically for these events. And we are convinced that football will be booming in North America, because we will start working immediately as of the 19th of December for that World Cup when it comes to the men's, for the women's, Australia, New Zealand, but in 23. But we are really convinced of the growth. There is one element, since you mentioned the World Cup, which allows me to make a little remark. As you might remember, we have been approving a 48-team format with 16 groups of 3, of which a top 2 would move to the knockout phase of 32, and then 16, 8, 4, and 2. I have to say that after this World Cup and the success of the groups of 4, and looking at as well some other competitions like the Euro, for example, where you have 24 teams and the top 2 plus the best third ones go to the next group stage. I mean, here the groups of 4 have been absolutely incredible, in the sense that until the last minute of the last match, you would not know who goes ahead. I think we have to revisit or at least rediscuss the format, whether we go for 16 groups of 3 or 12 groups of 4. This is something that will certainly be on the agenda in the next meetings. But as you say, a 50% increase of revenues is certainly something, well, to be proud of when it will have happened, but already to be proud of putting out in the books and getting in the proof.
Thank you. We'll go over to the far left here, Jean.
Hello, Gianni. Jean Descotes from AFP News Agency. You just said that the next World Cup will have 16 groups of 3. How will you prevent illegal agreement between the 2 teams that play the last game in the group phase, and avoid to have biscotto and games like we knew in the past? And my second question is, you're very bullish on the revenue of the next cycle. Is there any plan from FIFA to share this wealth? You spoke about maybe have a compensation fund for migrant workers here. What's the status of this compensation fund, and will you share some of this wealth?
You should know that FIFA shares everything from its wealth. All the revenues of FIFA are being redistributed and reinvested, mainly in the game and also in some other activities. It's sufficient to look into our accounts, and you will see that immediately. When it comes to the legacy fund, I've been speaking about that as well, and we have published some information about that before this World Cup, and more will follow after this World Cup. When it comes to the 16 groups of 3, that's exactly what I was just mentioning. It's something that we need to consider, that we need to discuss, whether it's 16 groups of 3 or whether 12 groups of 4 are better. I just have a question actually to Brian. Is bullish negative, or does it have a negative connotation? Because if it has negative connotation, I don't want to have a negative. I mean, we want to be bullish. We are optimistic. We are convinced of the power of football. We are convinced that football will become the #1 sport in North America, or maybe the #2 to start with, and then with time. But we are convinced of the power of our game, and you know, the more revenues we can generate, the more we can reinvest in the game, mainly in all those countries who have zero revenues, who depend on us. Before I became FIFA president, around 300 million a year were invested in football development programs. As of 1st of January next year, it will be 2.25 billion who will be invested in football development around the world. So 7 times more, I think. Well, this is all done in full transparency, and I think very positive.
Bullish, aggressively confident, and self-assertive.
Confident and
self-assertive.
So we are bullish, yes.
Sums it up, I think. Okay, second row, third row. Olof.
Thank you. Olof Lund from Swedish TV4. You talk a lot about that football unites, but in this World Cup, especially in the beginning, we saw that it didn't have that uniting factor, and we had federations like the Danish Federation, German Federation, critical of you. Some of them won't vote for you now in Kigali. Can you explain all the things about when you refused teams playing with the One Love armband and why you did that and why some political statements are allowed and some not?
Well, thanks for the question. You know, FIFA is an organization of 211 countries around the world. I'm very grateful and proud to the over 200 countries who have expressed their support in writing and orally to me. And to the others, I'm very grateful as well and proud that we are always having discussions with everyone on every topic. And there are many different concerns in many different countries. There are different cultures, there are different ways of seeing and of seeing things. And as FIFA, we have to take care of everyone. We are a global organization. We do not have to discriminate anyone based on whatever legislation, whatever regime, whatever values and feelings they have. There is one element, and it's that they have to come together. And you know, when it comes to regulations, well, or prohibitions or not prohibitions, it's not about prohibiting or not prohibiting, it's about respecting regulations. We have regulations which say in the field of play, you play football. And that's what we did. Everyone is free to express his views, his opinion, his beliefs in the way he believes, as long as it's done in a respectful way. When it comes to the pitch, to the field of play, you need to respect football. You need to respect the field of play. And these regulations are exactly there for this reason. This is nothing new. These are there for this reason, to respect and to protect 211 teams, football teams, not 211 heads of states, regimes, or what have you. It's 211 football teams and their fans who want to come and enjoy football. And this is what we are here for. And honestly, I believe that we are defending values, we are defending human rights, we are defending rights of everyone in FIFA, in the World Cup. But I also believe that those fans who come to the stadium, those 80,000, 70,000, 90,000, 50,000, and all those billions of fans who are watching the World Cup on TV, maybe, and we should think about that, and I say this candidly really to everyone, you know, everyone has his own problems. Everyone has his own problems. They just want to spend 90 minutes or now 100 minutes or 105 minutes or whatever, or 120 minutes plus penalties, without having to think about anything else than just enjoying a little moment of pleasure and of joy, or at least of emotion, because if you lose, you are not so happy, but of emotion. That's what we have to do. We have to give to all these people a moment of time in their life where they can forget about their own problems and enjoy football. And after, all the time, between competitions, during competitions, outside of the match and the field of play, well, everyone can express his views and opinions the way he wants. But let's give this moment of joy to those who want to enjoy the game.
Okay, we'll go to the second row and then Gabriel, the third row. So second row, please. Gentleman with the hat. Second row, please. And, then Gabriel.
Bonjour,